I'd like to thank Chris Washburn. I wish you'd have worn them drawers yesterday during your seminar. Chris Washburn, I wish you'd have worn those pants during your seminar yesterday. You wore black pants. How about a nice round of applause for my twerking friend, Chris Washburn? You're the man, baby. Already know. All righty, it is now 2 o'clock. Everybody grab a seat. Get comfortable. Come on out here, kid. It is now time for our next seminar. So grab a seat, get comfortable. You failed the venue job interview. Now what? Love that title. Guys, for the next 50 minutes to an hour, get ready once again to take some great notes, get your learn on, and all the way, little DJ from Portland, Oregon. Please welcome, doing once again, you failed the venue job interview. Now what? Mr. Trevor West.
Do you guys hear me okay? Thank you, gentlemen. Great job as always. Thank you, Mike. You've all failed. You've all failed. Interesting way to start a seminar, isn't it? The interview is this. When you go work at a venue, whether it's your first time or your 1000th time, you're being judged. You're being evaluated. The venue staff is watching and listening to everything you say and do. That's the interview. The job that you're trying to get, the job is the referrals. Trying to get on the referral list. Being the resident DJ, being the only DJ company that is a part of their all-inclusive package. That's the job you're going for. Okay? But the interview is everything that you do from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave that venue. That's what they're evaluating. So we're going to take a look at the list of things that the venues are watching what the DJs are doing or not doing. All right? And we're going to run through this list pretty quick because we're going to actually come back to this list and hopefully go over cover a couple of things that will hopefully make you think about what can I change, what can I improve, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I'll leave it up on the screen so you guys can get a copy of it real fast. But I've had a lot of venues tell me they've had DJs who basically show up, they do nothing, they weren't very interactive, they just sit there, play music, and that's all they do. Okay? The number one biggest complaint I heard from venues more than anything else was DJs that take forever to set up and tear down, especially tear down. That is their number one, top of their list. They hate it more than anything else, just about. DJs who basically show up unprepared, if they show up at all, okay. I had a couple of venues tell me they've had DJs who basically wouldn't even follow the timeline, just for whatever reason. They showed up with what I like to call assitude, not attitude, but assitude. In other words, one of my venues told me if she had a DJ showed up, he acted like an ass. So they treated him like one, And, this last one's not as prevalent as it used to be. So, but if your setup looks like crap, your cable's all over the place, you haven't ironed your shirt, look like you just woke up, they do notice these things, okay? The number 3 biggest complaint, volume level is too high and the bass level rattling the building, okay? In some areas, that may not be an issue, but in the Northwest, a lot of the venues I work at, they don't like it. They will actually come tell you, turn it down or turn it off. All right, and the last one, probably not as prevalent as it used to be, a tip jar marketing signage. All right, I'll leave that up so you guys get a picture of that real quick. So these are the things the venues find annoying, that they're complaining about, that's their pet peeves. Now, where am I getting it? My venues, a lot of the venues I work at in my area, this is what they're telling me. This is straight from the coordinators. This is not from other DJs. She's one of them. I know. All right, so that's the list of what they're seeing. Now we're going to take a look at the list of things the venues are hearing. Now, this is not an all-inclusive list. There's other things that can be added on, but for time, we're going to keep them short as much as possible. So I know if a lot of you saw Chris's seminar yesterday, I'm going to touch a few points on what he had, and because I loved his seminar. That was a really good one. But if you're rambling on the microphone, they can't understand the word you're saying, using bad language on the mic, arguing with the staff, bad-mouthing other vendors, that's a bad one, obviously. Those three right there, those last three, that's a surefire guarantee to get you kicked off the venue real fast, okay? And you can bet they're never going to refer you, ever. Keywords, I know Chris touched on this a little bit, but we're getting a couple other add-ons to that. Forgetting important names, we won't mention those things, no pun intended. Last one, mentioning your company name, DJ name too much. A lot of people find this irritating. I don't know if you guys do, but I know it after the first time, I don't want to hear it the 50th time. So, how do we fix what you're doing wrong? How do we go back and look at that list and see what we can improve or change? So, there's 3 steps you got to do. They're very easy steps. Some of these things are very easy to do. You can do them in the very next event. Some of them are always evolving and changing. Some of them it will take time to improve. But the first 2 steps are very simple. Figure out what you did wrong. Figure out what you said wrong. Now, this is not other people telling you this. This is you telling yourself this. This is you being strong enough and capable enough to actually be, how do I want to say this, that you can tear yourself down and build yourself back up. In other words, you have to be your harshest critic, okay? You have to be willing to say, did I really need to do that? Did I really need to say that? Should I have done something different? That kind of thing, okay? So these 2 steps are post-event self-evaluation steps. These are the things that you look at for yourself. One of the things that I always do with my assistant is when we're driving away in the car, we will actually sit there and go, how'd we do? What did we rate? So we rate our events, 1 being worst, 10 being the best. And I'll tell you right now, in all honesty, I've never had a 10. I have never hit a 10 event in my life, okay? I've had 9.2s, 9.5s, 9.7s. I've had moments at that event that were rated to 10, but we've done something very simple like, played the wrong song, killed the floor. But it's how you recover, that helps bring your score back up. But it's not the client or the venue telling me that's my rating. That's me telling myself that's how I rated my event, okay? So these are post-event steps. 3rd one, which is easy, figure out how to fix them, all right? That's a pre-event step. And the only person that can help you do that for the most part is you. And of course, it helps to have other people help you do that kind of thing as well. I know it's not a great picture, but as you can see, that's a friend of mine's wedding. I did theirs. So we're going to go back to that list again, and we're going to try and see if we can help you guys improve what you do. So if you're the type of DJ that basically just sits back here all night long and does nothing but play music and make announcements, that used to be fine back in the day, but we're not back in that day anymore, okay? Venues expect more. Brides expect more from their DJs. They want more interaction. Now, you don't have to be a cheesy DJ jumping up on the speakers and doing air guitar and air drums and all that kind of stuff. No. But interaction can be something as simple as standing there holding a limbo stick. That's being interactive with your crowd. It's out from behind the booth, okay? If you play these 6 dances, Cupid Shuffle, Cha-Cha Slide, Electric Slide, Wobble, YMCA, Macarena, if you play any of those 6 dances at any event you do, you want to impress your venue coordinators, get out and lead that dance, okay? Don't just sit behind the booth and play the song, right? I did a wedding a couple years ago. Anybody ever watch TLC? You ever see Little People, Big World? I did a photo booth for their young son. And I was watching the DJ, and he played Cupid Shuffle. He could have done that one song 1% better. Tip of the hat to Randy. Instead of just playing it, he could take 2 steps and lead that dance right from the dance floor and would still be able to get to his booth really quickly. Okay? So if that's your weak area, go on YouTube, figure out how to dance these things, learn how to lead them. You have a microphone, get your class or your group to follow you, all right? So, the best thing to do is get out and talk to your crowd. Interaction can be can mean more than just leading a dance. If you're not a dancer, find somebody who is, hire them to come do that for you, okay? I'm going to give you, I have a couple of golden nuggets that are not going to be on the slides. I'm going to throw them out to you, so I hope you guys like this. Here's your first golden nugget. The one group that, if one person or one group that is at that wedding that you need to go flirt with is not the bridesmaids. Go find grandma. Go flirt with grandma, okay, if she's there. If she's not there, go flirt with the bride's or the groom's mom. Because if you have grandma in the palm of your hand and you get her on the dance floor, who's going to come running? The bride, correct? Now you've created two memories. You've made a family memory. Hopefully the photographer got pictures of that. And she can be over there doing the line dance because she's probably going to do the electric slide. You can help lead it, but you don't have to be next to her, get out of the pictures, but you're still leading it from the dance floor. Okay? So that's the first real big nugget. Get grandma in your palm of your hand. She'll love you for it. Right? I can't tell you how many times we've had more hugs and more hugs from grandmas and tips from grandpa because she got out and danced and had a great time. All right? The other person you need to talk to throughout the night, check in with, is the venue coordinator. All right? Don't wait for them to come to you. You go to them. Right? And it's a very simple conversation. Hey, just checking in. Just want to make sure everything's great. Timeline good. Nothing's changed. Cool. Thanks. Not too loud, is it? All right. Thank you. That little conversation, 30-second, 1-minute conversation, carries more weight with them than you can possibly imagine. Okay? So don't wait for them to come to you. You go to them. Everybody get a picture of that part because I got a bunch of them on here. I'm going to keep going. All right. Number one complaint, setup teardowns. They hate it. If you spend more than an hour doing your teardown time, you need to rethink your process. My typical average teardown time is no more than 20 minutes. From the last song till I got everything out of the car, heading for the door. They don't care if you're out in the parking lot putting your stuff away, but they want you out of the building. Okay? So if you're in there for another hour, hour and a half, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're not done, do you think you really made them happy? No. Okay? So they want you out as fast as you can possibly get. So you have to think about, if you put your stuff in boxes, figure out which box. Don't just throw it all in there. Keep doing the same thing over and over again. I have all my equipment down to 2 boxes. That's it. That's all I put. Power cords in one, speaker cords, and everything else in the other box. Everything stacks up on a cart, heading for the door, 15 minutes. Okay? You would be surprised when and the last person you want to see heading out the door, venue coordinator. Because then she doesn't have to worry about you. She can go take care of her staff. All right? But make sure that you see her go by, and she's going to be so happy with you because she's not being held up because of you. All right? Okay, number 2, biggest complaint. DJs who showed up unprepared. That can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. That could be something very simple as not bringing batteries for your microphones, forgetting the microphones, I think the biggest complaint with venues more than anything else is DJs who don't show up without a table. Okay? If you need a table. Because the problem is if you didn't communicate to them you needed a table and they didn't ask or offer it, who's wrong? Who's unprepared? You or the venue? Right? Because they don't have time during the day, during that day of, to accommodate you. They got too many things to do. All right? So check all your gear, make sure it all works the night before, have it all stacked in nice boxes, bring all the gear you need to get the job done from beginning to end, right? That means tables, pop-ups, umbrellas, whatever else you need. Bring your own chair if you have to. A lot of times we do, right? The other thing is music. Do not rely on a venue's website, Wi-Fi, excuse me. I have a venue I work at, they're out in the sticks. Their Wi-Fi is spotty at best, and you're lucky if you get 1 bar on your phone in their building. Okay? So if you're relying on their Wi-Fi to play music, don't. Have it all downloaded for everything you need from start to finish, both on your primary and on your backup. Okay, moving on. Set up an attire. Okay, I think I had one venue tell me that they had one DJ that just didn't care. They just showed up, put their stuff on the table, and they did everything they really care. Okay? You know what? Here's the thing. 90% of venue coordinators are female. Do you think they remember the things you do or don't do? Yes, they do. Whether they write it down or not, it's in that memory bank. Okay? Isn't that right, dear? She has a file. You're right. See, she's got a notebook. You're like, yep, wrote it down. They didn't do it. Okay? So, make your area look nice. Like these guys got it all taped down and everything. Make sure you look nice. Don't wear the same clothes that you use to set up as you are performing. Always have a change of clothes. Okay? Little Vegas story real quick. I told him earlier. Do you know that Dean Martin, before he went on stage, was in the back room with no pants on? You ever know that? Until he was ready to go on stage, he would be sitting in the green room with no pants on. Because they didn't want to ruin the crease, and they didn't want wrinkles in their pants. Okay? So, wait till you get all your sound check, everything done, everything's good, go change your clothes. Now, I will add on to this one, it's not on here, but there's one big complaint DJs always do. And they say, why do the photographers always just dump their gear by my area? I cleaned it up, mine looks great, why do they do that? Okay? Here's the way to solve that. Designate a spot for them. So when they come up and ask you, hey, can I put my gear by your stuff? Yes. Put it right over here. It'll be out of the way. We can keep an eye on it for you. There are two benefits to doing that. One, you're going to help a vendor make sure that their equipment does not grow legs, because their camera stuff is easier to steal than that. Right? Okay? The other thing is they have to walk by you all night long. So that means you have a great opportunity to keep that line of communication going, because they have to come past you all night long. So if something changes, I can tell the photographer, because I don't have to go look for them. All right? Whew. I'm going to slow down. Give me a second. All right. Everybody good? Got that one? All right. Moving on. Okay. I'm going to put these two up because they go together. And number 3 complaint. Volume level is too high. And this is the can of worms I'm going to open up. Hope you guys are ready for it. DJs are still doing a very dumb thing. They've been doing it for years. They haven't changed. Okay? It's a stupid way of thinking. It's an outdated way of thinking. And what it is, and you can look at that picture, it kind of shows you already. It's not the lights. It's speaker placement. DJs typically nowadays, in fact, we're going to do a quick survey. How many of you guys only bring 2 speakers? And when I mean 2 speakers, 2 tops, 2 subs. That's all you bring. Raise your hands. Pretty much quite a few of you. All right? Here's the problem. When you have just a setup like that, and they put you wherever the coordinator puts you, you're usually over in the far corner, right? But the dance floor is over here. So why are you putting your speakers way over there when the dance floor is here, right? The placement of your DJ table is irrelevant to where the placement of the speakers should be, okay? So usually, like look at these. See how far these are apart? If my table was right here and I had both of those stacks next to me, all that volume of sound is going straight, versus I'm covering that half of the room and I'm covering that half of the room instead of the center section only. So if you learn to move your speakers further out, it will help you cover that space a lot better. Here's the other half of the problem. DJs want to crank it up. That's the number 2 problem. Number 3, they want to crank up the bass. That may be fine in certain markets, but in the Northwest, not so much. The venue coordinator will typically come over and tell you to turn it down. One of the ways to solve that is by adding additional speakers, at least 1 to 2 speakers. They don't have to be the same big size speakers you're using in the front for your dance floor, but what you're trying to do is fill that gap in the back so that Uncle Phil sitting in the back corner can hear you without his ears bleeding, okay? Because if your speakers are way over in the far corner and you have to turn it up for the person way at the far table to hear you, then your equipment is failing you. It's not doing its job properly, okay? I don't care what equipment you have. If Uncle Phil can't hear you, then your equipment is crap in their ears, okay? The other thing to help kill this complaint from happening is, with the coordinators, is make sure that you have a sound meter or sound meter app and use it. Go out around your space, not just your DJ area, but out in these where they're dancing and where they're sitting, and check your volume levels, because if it sounds loud to them, they're going to be complaining about it and they want you to turn it down. Okay? There you go. We've all seen that picture, right? I love that picture. I just felt like throwing it out. Okay, so Timeline. It's a guide. We know it. You know, I'm not going to harp on this too much. I don't care who writes the timeline. Use your knowledge and experience to make sure that that timeline flows smoothly, not only for yourself, but for your client and for the other vendors. Remember, it's not always just about you. It's making sure that everybody's working together to make the event go as smooth as possible. But things will happen, so just be flexible, okay? All right. And by doing that, that helps you lose the bad attitude and creates good attitude, because venues don't want to work with bad attitude people. They want to work with good attitude people, people who are going to be a team player, right? No matter what. I tell you, one of the venues I work at, we have to flip the room. We have to move all these chairs so they can put them back to the table. And so we'll grab table or chairs. We'll help move that stuff. I'll grab a broom and sweep. You know, that's being a team player. Not always just about you and your gear. All right. Okay, last one. Yep, last one. All right. So, tip jar marketing signage. I'm just going to be blunt. Do a better job. If you're doing a great job and they're inclined to tip you, they'll come tip you. Okay? If you're doing a great job and they want your business, they'll come ask for a business card. You don't need to put up any marketing signage. You don't need to put up a tip jar. None of that. All right? If you feel like putting a tip jar up, put it behind you so it's not so obvious. And obviously, most of what I'm talking about is weddings more than anything else. Okay? All right. So, since we're in Vegas, got to throw a little Barry Manilow in there. So now we're going to fix what we said wrong. So some of this I'm going to touch on because I know Chris did as well. So if you're rambling on the microphone, kind of like what I'm doing right now, I only have so much time, so I'm trying to get this out as quick as possible. If what you're going to say is not important enough for them to hear it, don't say it, right? Stop and think, do I really need to say that? Do they really need to hear it? Nope, great. Put the mic down, turn the volume off. But if what you are saying needs to be, they need to hear it, slow down, take a breath, speak clearly, right? Move the mic away from your mouth. You know, if they can't hear you, chances are you probably only brought 2 speakers, you had to turn it up, so it may sound distorted, all right? Bring in an extra speaker or 2. Wake up, Steve. So, and I know Fernando went over that a little bit, and I know Chris did too, just a tad. So, next one. I'm going to put all 3 of these up so you can see them all at one time. Think about all the stuff that we do. Think of all the scenarios that would happen at a wedding, for the most part. What would be so bad of a scenario that would cause you to have to do any of these 3 things? Okay? You know, the best thing to do is, you know, if you get a coordinator who's just a pill, I won't mention her name. Just kidding. Love you too. But, you know, all you do is smile, let it flow off your back, okay? It's one night out of your life. It's not going to kill you, all right? So, because the worst thing that's going to happen is if it hits Facebook, you know you're dead at that point, right? I have a quick story on that one. A friend of mine, old ex-friend, he's an ex-friend, not that friend. You don't know him. Actually, you do. Craig knows him. His name was Mark. He ended up doing the stealing money from all the brides. He would take their money, and then he would not do the gig. Well, that hit the consumer news on TV, and within 5 minutes, it was on Facebook. His career was done. Okay, so, and in jail. Yeah, okay. All right, so now we're going to touch on a few things that Chris hit on yesterday, same with Fernando, is keywords. Keywords are like. Okay, and Craig's new one is so. You didn't think I was going to forget that, did you? You know, if you're walking around going, so let's get started. So how about that ceremony? So what do we do? You know, mine is so anyway. That's my keyword, trigger word. We call them trigger words. Okay, it's your brain trying to catch up to your mouth trying to catch up to your brain. One of the two, right? Stop, take a breath, think what you need to say, and then just go, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out to my seminar. Hope you guys enjoy this, right? No ums, no uhs. Nice, polished, sounds good, nice and smooth. Forgetting important names. I'm not going to mention that video we saw of Chris's yesterday because that was self-explanatory. But he did show a third video. I watched it this morning at 6 o'clock. I wanted to use this as a valid point. He introduced the grandfather of the groom. And he basically said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special person in the house. He's the grandfather of the groom, Mr. Fred, whatever. I'll use Kaczynski. I don't remember what the name was. Here's how you could change that. Here's how you can improve that one little statement. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in the house. It is Joe's grandfather, Mr. Fred Kaczynski. Get rid of the groom name. They all know who the groom is. There's only one in that room. Use his name. Okay? Right? Get rid of the groom. Get rid of the ladies and gentlemen, the at last, things of that nature. Okay? Along with the names. Remember who you're talking to. Right, Greg? Yeah. So, I want to do a quick story. Last night, I had dinner with 5 other DJs. I asked them at weddings, I'm not mentioning any names except they're over there. I said, at a wedding, what's the one thing that you do need to do different or improve or change or fix, whatever the case is, just at weddings? And one of them said, remembering names was the hard part for him. Okay? The other one was struggles at setting up the cake cutting. They're easy fixes. They're not hard to overcome. I don't remember what were the other three. Do you remember? I don't remember. But it was something very simple and easy to do. Okay? All right, moving on. Mention your company name, DJ name too much. Say it once, say it twice. Usually for me, my opening monologue when I'm at a wedding is, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Trevor, along with my assistant, Gary. We're your DJ and MC for this evening. Hope you guys are ready to have a good time, etc., etc., etc. I don't mention my company name at the beginning. The only time you'll hear me say my company name is at the very end, in the last 15, 20 seconds of the very last song being played. Okay? And it's, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Trevor, along with my assistant Gary. We are dancing tunes. Hope you guys had a great time. Thank you again for coming. Please drive safe. Good night. That's it. That's the only time you'll hear me say my company name at all. Okay? Because if you say it every hour on the hour, it's going to get annoying. And people are going to be like, oh, dude, I heard you the first time. Okay? The other worst thing is if you're doing an announcement and you start talking in the third person and it's you saying it about yourself, that's really annoying. Right? Steve, wake up. Okay. So, how do we get more referrals from the venue the right way? How do we get the venue to be our biggest cheerleader? Okay? What that means is when they're sitting down with their client, and they just booked that client, and they got that date ready for you. The venue, the client says, hey, I need a DJ, I need a photographer, I need this, I need that. The venue is going to go, you know what? I got the best DJ in the world for you. And it's not Steve, it's Cliff. I promised I'd use him. Sorry, Steve.
He paid more,
right?
I know.
In other words, if she's sitting there or he's sitting there going, hey, I got the best DJ for you. He's awesome. You're going to love him. Here's his contact information. Reach out to him. Let me know if you book him, right? Or better yet, let me call him right now while you're sitting here, and I'll say, Cliff, you got the 20th open of July? Great. I'm going to send you some info. Let me know when you book. It's up to him to keep that referral, right? But she didn't go, oh yeah, here's our list of all our preferred vendors. Pick one from the list. She's not saying that. She's going, Cliff is our best DJ. I'm going to send him that business. Okay? Because he didn't ask for them. He earned them. He did all the things that he should be doing that DJs aren't doing. That's important to the venue coordinator. Okay? So you have to make sure that you show them stuff that you want to be worth referring. Right? Because to the venue, it's not all about music, right? They don't care what song you're playing. They care about how you're playing it, okay? Shut up, Craig. I heard that, right? They don't care what, other than if it's, songs that has to be bleeped or it's a lot of cussing, yes, they'll care about that. But otherwise, they don't care what song you're playing. It's just how you're playing it. Is it too loud, too much bass, that kind of thing, okay? So, Now I'm going to show you an industry secret probably some of you have never heard of, unless you're a venue coordinator. And she's over there, right? And this is going to be hopefully an eye-opener for you. This is the big golden nugget. The venues want to be your cheerleader. They want to send you business. They're dying to send you business. They can't give you that business fast enough. Why? Glad you asked. Because they're tired of all the crappy DJs that have come through their venue before you. Okay? Ha! He didn't think I was getting applause. Thank you. Thank you for that, by the way. All right? That's it. They want to give you business. When they get a great DJ coming through their venue, right? It's going to wipe out everything they've seen all year long. But here's the problem. If you're coming into a venue for the first time, the perception of you, no matter what they've heard in the market, their perception of you is you're the crappiest DJ they've ever seen, or just as seen as much as the other ones, until you prove them otherwise. Okay? So you have to work to show them, hey, I'm worth referring. Now, they're not going to just drop you at the top of the referral list after one event. That's not going to happen. Okay? It's going to take 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 events before they start doing that. But that's how you start earning your way up that list. Okay? So now what? Now what do we do? You could have done all the best stuff in the world. You could have had the floor rocking. But if you didn't prove to the venue that you were worth referring, they're going to probably just put you on the okay list. Meaning, if my top 5 DJs are booked, then I'll go to my okay list and I'll be like, okay, who can I deal with the most without getting ticked off, right? They do a good job. They're in and out in a reasonable time, but they're just not quite up there like the other 5 are, okay? That's the difference. So, if you think that you need to stop and think about all the stuff you do, okay, record yourself. Get a video camera out and do an audio recording, or have somebody critique you. Unfortunately, my mentor is over there, and I had 3.5 pages front and back when he first critiqued me, okay, but that was 10 years ago, okay. Did I learn from that? Yes, I did. Here's where I'm at now, okay. Same like Chris. He got that video, he went, that'll never happen again, okay, right? So that's the stuff you have to go do. You have to be your harshest critic. You have to be willing to go, you know what? I screwed that up. How do I learn from it? What do I do different? How do I improve? Things of that nature. All right. Now for the can of worms. This is going to be the one thing that will override everything else I've shown you so far today. And this is straight from the venues. This is from the venue coordinators. It's the one thing they hate more than anything else. Didn't think I was going to put that up there, did you? If the venue coordinator or venue staff have to babysit you, then they're not focusing on their job. They're focusing on making sure that you are doing yours. And they hate that. They will go in the back room, they'll go to the kitchen, and they're going to be talking amongst each other going, God, I hate this DJ. Why do we keep letting them back here? Okay? If they have to babysit you, they're not happy. And that supersedes everything else on that bad list I showed you earlier. Okay? So, and the way they're going to tell you, they're not going to actually come out and tell you, you suck. They're not going to do that. They're too nice of a people. But they're not going to refer you. And in some cases, they're going to make sure they go out of their way to make sure that you're not referred, or if that client is thinking of hiring you, that coordinator is going to go, oh, please don't. Here, no, I have 10 other DJs. Come take from this list. Don't go with that person. Okay? You know, because the venues, if they're not already tracking the good ones and the bad ones, right? Preferred vendors list, how many of you have ever heard of that? How do we get on a preferred vendors list? You know, things of that nature. They don't want the crappy DJs. They're tired of the 31 off DJs. They'd rather have 5 great DJs that does all their work for them for the whole year, and that's it. Okay? I work in my area, there's probably, 300-400 venues, something like that, in the Portland market. Okay? I have 5 venues right now that send me 90% of my business. Okay? One of them, actually 2 of them, I've done, for the one venue, I've done the birthday parties for the owner. Okay? The other one, I'm doing their 50th anniversary party for the owner of that venue. I've got 10 other weddings at that venue. Do you think that they're going to give that business that's that important to them to some DJ that's only been to their venue once? No. Okay, so now we've had our fun. Now we're going to do this. So these are statements that the DJs are saying. These are you guys' pet peeves, at least some of them, not all of them. Okay, sorry, I had too much fun with PowerPoint. I was just having way too much fun with it. But if you look at these statements, these are all our valid statements. How many times have you said any one of these? Quite a few, correct? Right? So think about it. Why don't they like you? Well, were you standing behind the booth looking like a mannequin, or were you out smiling and laughing and having a great time with your clients and all that? Okay. Subs. Can't use my sub. Well, of course not. The other 50 DJs before you cranked it up, rattled the building. We don't want subs anymore. I have one venue, they outlaw venues. You can't, subs. You can't bring a sub in. They will kick you out. They won't let you play if you do. You know, coordinator is bossy. Of course she is. She's got to deal with 30 crappy DJs. They don't do anything. Of course she's going to be bossy. You know, you have to show them, I don't need you in the corner. Go away. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing. All right? You know, they don't refer you. Well, chances are you might be the problem, not them. All right? The rest of them you kind of figure out. Now, I'm going to say this one real quick. See the one that says, I'll never work at this venue again? That was my assistant's statement. Because we have a venue in our area. He basically flat out said, if you book an event at that venue, you're doing it on your own. Because I'm not going to do it. And I said, well, I'm not doing an event without you, so we'll never book another gig at that venue. And it's not a bad venue. But the owner, she's a nice lady. But she's not a good coordinator. Okay? And he's like, you know what? I'm done with that place. Don't ever bring me back. So, how much time I got anyway? 20 minutes. We did that. So, anybody have any questions? Ooh, there's one way in the back.
Not necessarily a question, but an observation.
Please.
I find it interesting that one of the number one pet peeves of venues is DJs who take too long to break down.
Yep.
But the number one pet peeve of DJs are venues who break down tables, air walls, and drink stations sometimes hours before the event is to end or the time that the people have booked that venue for.
Right. Well, that's the problem with the venue, not us.
That is true.
Correct. Okay. Who was the one today said, or yesterday? I can't control what they do.
That's right.
Okay. I can only control what I do. And what I do is I want to make sure I'm out of their space as fast as I possibly can. And I don't even rush. We have it down to a science that these cords go in that box, these cords go in that box, everything else goes in that, put it on the lid, put it on the cart, head for the door. Thanks, good night. That's how we do it. Okay? 20 minutes tops. Yeah.
So there is one thing I always do with my clients is I ask them, what's the time that I have to set up and the time to break down?
Wrong.
Because
Wrong.
Well, let me ask them.
Go ahead.
Because
Sorry.
that's how I determine how much equipment I'm going to get.
Okay.
They want up lining, they want all the yards. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot provide this because I don't have enough time for me to set up.
What was the question, Trevor?
1 second. Say it one more time, real quick.
No, you need to repeat it on the mic.
I know it, but I gotta.
So I always ask my clients
Yeah, you ask the client.
at the venue, or well, let's say that I will coordinate with the venue
Right.
to see what my setup time is
Okay.
for my breakdown.
Here's the problem. And I'm going to use an example of a conversation I had Monday night with the gentleman over here. He basically told me the day of setting up a ceremony, gets down to the ceremony site and there's no place to plug in. Okay? He had put on his form that he sends to the bride, please verify there's power, there's this, there's that at the site. Guess what? That's not on her to do that. That's you, that's on your shoulders to go to the venue itself and say, hey, I need this. Where's the power, right? The problem is which is the one thing I kind of accidentally skipped over, was doing a venue walkthrough. If it's a venue you've never been to before, you need to do a walkthrough because those are the questions you need to ask of the venue. Don't put that on the bride's shoulders. She's got enough to worry about, okay? More than anything else. You know what her biggest fears are? Here's what the bride's biggest fears are when it comes to a wedding day. The number 2 biggest fear the bride has is whether or not any or all of her vendors are going to show up. That's her second biggest fear. The first one is how many people are going to show up and whether or not the groom is still there. Okay? Basically, right? That's her biggest fear. But the number 2 biggest one, again, is, if you don't do a walkthrough or at least the rehearsal, you're not going to help kill that fear of her. But when you do the rehearsal that says, hey, I'm going to be there for your rehearsal, so I'm going to be there for that. So those kind of questions, I would take that out of your form for her, all of her questions, and create another one. If you use DJ Event Planner, like I do, right, or any event planner program, you can create another separate form and send it to the venue coordinator and have them answer those questions for you. Because that gentleman that I talked to, he put that on that questionnaire for her, right? Expected her to get the answer, right? And they showed up. Here's the worst part. He said, we got there at that ceremony. There was no power. The nearest power is 300 feet away. He had to go spend $250 at Home Depot to get enough power cords to reach all the way to that site. Okay? Is that an unprepared DJ?
Yeah.
Right? Correct. All right. Another question? Anyone? Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment
Yeah.
In reference to the attending the rehearsal piece.
Okay.
I always add the value of explaining that to my clients,
Uh-huh.
and also let them know that I bring a Bluetooth speaker with me.
Okay. I do too.
We're playing for the wedding, the ceremony.
Right.
Nobody ever thinks of that in my market, and they always get shocked. And I've gotten plenty of tips just because of that.
Right.
Because everybody's using a cell phone
Yeah.
to try to listen to the music coming down the aisle.
Right.
And that's something they never think about, and that helps me out tremendously.
You can get on Amazon, we all shop on Amazon, a little $25 Bluetooth speaker that I tie into my iPad. And I'll play all of the songs they need to at the rehearsal. Okay, correct, you are correct. But here's the thing. See, there's a trigger word. Here's the thing. Okay. Venue coordinators are used to not having the DJs do that. Okay? In fact, I think the coordinators have a bumper sticker somewhere in their books that says, we never see the DJs do that. We never have the DJs do that. The DJs never do any of these kind of things. They never do rehearsals. They never do walkthroughs. Okay? I could probably count on one hand in my area how many DJs do a rehearsal. Every rehearsal. Not just one or two, but every, including the more established ones that have been there longer than I have. Okay? So, go back through all that. So if you want to impress your coordinator and help get yourself on that referral list a lot faster, okay, surprise them by doing a rehearsal. The first time I did a rehearsal at a venue, they were like, why are you here? Because I'm the DJ. Yeah, but we never have the DJ show up for a walk-through rehearsal. Well, I'm the MC. There's a difference between MC. There's a difference between MC and DJ, right? MC, Master of Ceremonies. That's why they call it Master of Ceremonies. You need to know everything about that venue and everything that goes in what you do and your DJ does, right? Do you think they ask the DJ or the venue coordinator, hey, where's the restroom? Where's the smoking area? You know, where do I park my car? A lot of times they go to the person who has the microphone, okay? So that's why venue walkthroughs are so important. If you can't do that, at least do the rehearsal, okay? Because that's the time to get those venue questions answered, okay? Even if you print it out and take it with you at the rehearsal, right? Don't put that on the bride. She doesn't have time for that, okay? So, see how much time we got. I got time for it. Anybody else got any question? Yes, sir.
It appears that a lot of advice kind of boils down to charging enough to be able to do those extra stuff.
Correct.
Because if you're not charging the right price,
Right.
I'm not going to want to do a rehearsal because there's more time I got to use. Or you said you had an assistant, but when you say you broke down 20 minutes, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to break down 20 minutes by myself. So that's another thing. The DJ will have to have an assistant, which
Right.
means you got to pay that person.
Exactly.
So you got to charge enough to do that as well.
Now you got it.
So it boils down to our prices.
That is true.
And then
Here-
educating the value out of it.
Correct. Here's, I don't know if you guys all heard that, but he basically, you know, if you're doing it by yourself, right, and you're bringing a lot of gear, if this was all you were setting up and 2 speakers, that's an easy setup. But if you're doing a truss system with lights and the whole works and room up lighting, and you're doing that by yourself, and that takes you 8 hours to do that just by yourself, charge more, hire more people to do it, just like they said in the earlier seminar this morning. Okay, you know, but here's the problem. This is the worst part. You can't raise your rates just for the sake of raising the rates if your performance hasn't improved to go along with that rate increase. Okay, all right. Your performance here has to reflect not just this, but everything the coordinator sees. Right. Then raise your rates. Hey, I got to pay my friend to help come in. I have to pay him. Jack your rates up, right? Do the rehearsals. If nobody else is doing a rehearsal, jack your rates up. Enough to cover that expense. Because here's the funny thing. I bet I can probably answer it real quick with all of you. How many of you work at 90% of the venues that are less than an hour's drive away from your house? Raise your hand. Look at the number. Okay? Almost more than half. The 5 venues that I work at, 90% of the time, are less than 30 minutes from my house. It's an easy setup, easy drive-in. The easiest one I got, I literally back my car up to the door, open their door, open my door, and I'm set up. That's the easiest one. I love working there. They have great staff. You know, those are the venues you want to work at, not the ones who are, I gotta go up 6 flights of stairs, 3 elevators, and all that. Forget those. How am I doing a one-off? But you know, I'd rather work at the venue that's, hey, you know what, we're going to send you 6 gigs this year, right? Don't you want to work there? It's a lot easier, okay? A lot more fun. Crowd's a lot better. All right, I think we got time for one more, maybe 2. You got 2. You beat 2. I see him. See him. There you are.
Earlier you mentioned how quickly you can set up.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of that setup?
Unfortunately, not on this one. I don't. But it's. I can tell you that it's not anything like those 2 that you saw on here, okay? Typically, depending on which venue I'm in, your setup is determined by 3 things. The size of the layout, the size of the room, the layout of the room, and your guest count, okay? 2 speakers are fine for maybe 70 people or less, but 2 speakers are not fine for 150 in a big room like this, okay? So by doing a walkthrough, that helps you figure out where do I put all my speakers. I have one venue that's a long, narrow one, and I can only put my speakers on one wall, okay? But they're not right next to me. I let the room determine where I put my speakers. Does that help? Okay. Yes, sir.
One of the issues I've struggled with over the last few years is the disconnect between the venue coordinator or the manager that's there, and then the owner of the venue, which are the ones that will make the decisions a lot of times on the preferred vendors list.
Okay. And
trying to sort of get the individual I'm working with the day of
right.
to communicate, oh my God, I had an amazing time, you got to get this guy on your list.
Right.
What's your preference for follow-up after the gig?
If it's a venue the first time you worked at, do you guys hear his question? Okay. Craig's deaf anyway, so sorry. Instead of following up with the coordinator who was there that day, follow up with the owner. Schedule a meeting when they're not busy and go, hey, you know, we did this wedding last week. Here's how it went. You know, did you hear any feedback? Was there anything good, negative? You know, what can we do differently? You know, whatever you heard, how do we fix it? Okay. I'd follow up with the owner because if they're the one making that decision, that's the person you need to talk to. I would ask them to bring in that coordinator the day of and have them give you feedback as well while you're in that meeting. Okay, because the owner probably didn't see anything. but the coordinator did. So I would schedule a meeting with them. Yeah. Yes, sir.
How do you beat the people or the competition that is paying to play? The shitty end what they do, they're nowhere near your talent of what you put on the table.
Yeah.
You kill it at the venue, you kill it on the events, you kill it with everyone. The relationship's awesome.
Right.
But they still hire the shittier competition because they're paying to play. How do you beat
Well, no, let's go back to a second. Who's hiring? The client, the bride,
No.
or the venue?
Venue, the people that make the final decisions, like the venue or
Okay.
the event coordinator.
If they're still not referring you, right? You're not going to like this answer. Okay, this is a can of worms. If they're still not referring you, even though you may have had a full dance floor, but you got to remember, they're looking at more than just a full dance floor. They're looking at everything you do from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave.
So even if you're very good at all of that part.
I thought about that too. I had an answer ready for that. No matter what you do, there might just be a venue that you just don't fit at. Okay?
You're not paying to play.
No. It may not just be, well, yeah, that too. But, sorry.
I mean,
Yeah,
is it something that you consider? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's going through it. That I come out of Hawaii and my competition, they're paying to play 30% off of the $2,000 they're charging off the way. To the venue, to the owner, to the coordinator, to the
In other words, they're doing a kickback or a,
okay.
yeah.
And
You know what? I can't compete with that. I don't want to, if that's the case with that venue, then that venue is not the place you want to work at. Plain and simple.
Protect your home, man.
Because the venue, if they want you, because you've shown them that you're better than the other 20 or 30 that have been through their venue, they're not going to ask for a kickback. Okay? At least you hope anyway. But I'm not going to, I've never paid a 10% booking fee with the venue or whatever you want to call it. Okay? At all. You know? All right. I think that's good enough time right there. I think we're pretty well done. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hope you guys learned a lot. Appreciate it.
Well, wonderful round of applause. Stay right